Occupational English Test. Listening test. This test has 3 parts. In each part you'll hear a number of different extracts. At the start of each extract, you'll hear this sound. You'll have time to read the questions before you hear each extract, and you'll hear each extract once only. Complete your answers as you listen. At the end of the test, you'll have 2 minutes to check your answers. Part A. In this part of the test, you'll hear 2 different extracts. In each extract, a health professional is talking to a patient. For questions 1 to 24, complete the notes with information you hear. Now, look at the notes for Extract 1. Extract 1. Questions 1 to 12. You hear a physician talking to a patient called Pamela Erickson. For questions 1 to 12, complete the notes with a word or short phrase. You now have 30 seconds to look at the notes.
Hello, doctor. Good morning.
Good morning. What's your problem?
Well, doctor, I have itchy red rash on my feet.
Okay, what's your age?
21, doctor.
Tell me if you have developed any associating symptoms or signs.
It is tingling persistently, doctor.
Since how long have you had this problem?
For the past 4 weeks.
Exactly on which part of your foot you are getting this problem?
Right great toe, right second toe, right third toe, and right fourth toe. Often the onset of itching starts after removing sweaty socks.
Do you drink or smoke?
I do not smoke, but I do drink.
Have you had any diseases in the past?
Well, I had chicken pox and frequent ear infections.
You had any surgeries as well?
I have surgical ear tubes.
Do you take any medications?
No, doctor.
Are you allergic to any medicine or substances?
Well, I get a severe rash when I access adhesive tape.
Any of your family members have any history of illness?
My paternal grandmother is having cataracts, and my maternal aunt has migraines.
Well, your physical examination reports show blood pressure 110/64, respiratory rate is 18, heart rate is 66, and temperature is 98.6. Lower extremities is warm to cool, proximal to distal. The dorsalis pedis artery pulse palpable bilateral. Posterior tibial artery pulse palpable bilateral. No edema observed. Varicosities are not observed. Right great toe, right second toe, right third toe, and right fourth toenail show erythema and scaling. Muscle strength is 5 out of 5 for all groups tested. Muscle tone is normal. Inspection and palpation of bones, joints, and muscles is unremarkable. You have developed tinea pedis, a fungal culture of skin from right toes. KOH test shows no visible microbes. I am prescribing Lotrimin AF 1% cream to apply 4 times a day, and Griseofulvin 250 milligrams PO once in 8 hours for 4 weeks.
Extract 2. Questions 13 to 24. You hear a doctor talking to a recently admitted patient called Roy Miller. For questions 13 to 24, complete the notes with a word or short phrase. You now have 30 seconds to look at the notes.
So, Roy, I see from your notes you've been admitted because of shortness of breath. Can you tell me more about that, please? Yeah, well, it started last week. I noticed that getting up the stairs was more of an effort, and I found that I had to pause on the way to catch my breath.
Right.
I did used to get a little out of breath, but it's definitely gotten worse. I normally manage to go shopping with my wife, and we walk to the shops and back. I generally have to have a little rest, but now everything is just taking me longer. I feel weary, you know? And I've got this cough. It's like a barking thing that I just can't shift. It's worse at night when I'm lying down and I get a bit wheezy. I'm just really tired because it keeps me awake for most of the night. My wife has been sleeping in the spare room because it's keeping her awake. I've also sort of been bringing things up when coughing. Without being too graphic, it's quite thick. It's a sort of dirty green color, I suppose.
Right.
It wasn't like that at the beginning of last week. It was just clear. But over the last couple of days, I've noticed it's changed color, and I'm coughing up a lot more. My wife was starting to get worried, so she made me an appointment with our doctor, and then he sent me here.
Okay, well, do you have any other symptoms?
Yeah, I was really hot yesterday, and I thought it was because the heating was on, but my wife hadn't turned it on. Then the next minute I was shivering. I guess I'm feverish?
It sounds like you've been really suffering. Have you got any other medical conditions?
Well, I was diagnosed with this lung condition last year. I've forgotten the name of it. Hold on. Hang on, I'll get it. COPD, is that it?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, they told me that my lungs weren't working as well as they could be because I used to be a smoker.
Right.
But I quit about 6 years ago. To be honest, I think it was because I worked in the mines and it was really dusty. Either way, I've got it, and it makes me a bit breathless, but nothing like this.
Right.
And I also get gout from time to time, and I take something called allopurinol or something. I've also got arthritis in my knees, but that's just because of my age, so I just put up with that.
You mentioned taking allopurinol. Are you on any other medication?
Well, the doctor gave me inhalers, and I'm using those. I'm getting better at taking them because I found it a bit confusing at first. I've started to take my blue inhaler a lot more over this last week because I've been so breathless. I take the stuff I mentioned before, a statin for my cholesterol, and then the odd paracetamol when my arthritis starts to play up. I don't really like taking pills, but if it keeps me going, then it's worth it. Also, I'm allergic to penicillin. I get an awful rash all over my body, and it's so itchy whenever they give it to me. Don't give me any of that.
We won't, Roy. You mentioned you live with your wife. Are you both managing at home?
Oh, yeah. We still get around the town to get our shopping and see the family. The stairs are starting to get a bit much now, so we're thinking about moving into a bungalow, but we haven't started looking yet.
Okay, that's good. Have you got any ideas as to what might be going on?
Well, I think it might be a chest infection because it's just getting worse. I just want to start feeling better.
Of course, Roy. It does sound like that might be the case, but we'll start doing some tests to make sure and begin treatment.
That is the end of Part A. Now look at Part B. Part B. In this part of the